Hey everyone, it's Michael. Today we're going to be talking about an original classical 62 book era Goosebumps book. It is number 56, The Curse of Camp Cold Lake. This is my original copy that I've had since I was a very young child. This and Legend of the Lost Legend very well could be the only first two Goosebumps books I ever really got. And then I had a birthday at a skating rink and I got a ton more, like Night of the Living Dummy, and that's what really, just kind of dragged me into it. But this book, look at this cover, man. Do you know how scary it was to be a child in the 90s and get this book? It might have been the early 2000s when I got this. I was born in 94. By the time I probably started really reading for fun, I was probably 7 or 8. So I would say this book right here, I was probably 6 or 7 when I got it, somewhere in there. But man, that cover used to terrify me. The Curse of Camp Cold Lake. Essentially, we have a girl and her brother who have went off to a water sports camp. I've never heard of that, but I'm sure it probably existed, especially in the 90s. Essentially, Camp Cold Lake is just kind of a water sports thing. Everybody likes to swim a whole lot. Our main character, though, does not like to swim at all. She just, it's fun, whatever, every once in a while, but most of the time she kind of just prefers to not do that. She didn't really want to go to this place either, so she's already kind of started off on a bad note. The first kind of other campers that she meets in her bunk room, she already has a problem with because they have her sleeping on a bunk next to the window and stuff, and she doesn't want that because she doesn't want bugs crawling on her and stuff. She has immediately the worst possible connection with these other kids that you could possibly start off with. The wrong foot was definitely stumped on. It's kind of annoying, Our main character is very, very whiny. There are Goosebumps books where you do have the main protagonist or a side character that might be like a best friend or a brother or sister that is typically kind of whiny. This one's really whiny. And it's, in a lot of ways, I have so much nostalgia for this book, but honestly, the best thing about the book is the cover. It just is. The story itself is a slower Goosebumps story, which is not a problem in my opinion. It's just not the most engaging, powerful, strong thing that you're probably expecting to read, especially with a cover like that. It's kind of a little bit of a letdown. I've read this book probably 3 or 4 times in my life, and honest to God, after like a week of reading it, I never remember what it's about, almost ever. I can have this real big fond nostalgia for it and remember some eerie things happening, and I physically can't tell you anything about the book. It's probably a month from now. If you ask me about the book, more than likely I'm not going to remember a whole lot about it. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. It's kind of just an okay Goosebumps book. It's not the best thing ever written. It's definitely not one of R.L. Stine's best, but and again, it's one of those more nostalgic reads for myself. And that means nothing to anybody else except for people who are like me about this story. But the story's not bad. Don't take it like that. It's just okay. The main girl and her brother don't even really talk or hang out that much in the actual story itself. It's not like in the horror of Camp Jelly Jam, the last book review that I did here on the channel. It's not like that where they're kind of like seeing each other every day and they kind of contact each other to, the little brother wants to win competitions and stuff and the main character girl doesn't. It's not like the horror at Camp Jelly Jam, almost at all. It's almost like the reverse of that. It's like the two got completely isolated and they don't care. There is some really eerie stuff in the book that's kind of ruined by the more childish aspects of the book. I don't know how to explain it. You know how you have kids' Goosebumps books sometimes that are focused on it seems like Goosebumps kind of goes up and down sometimes for me about whether it's for young middle grade or upper middle grade, or lower middle grade and upper middle grade, somewhere in there. Where one second you're doing a story about a killer rabbit, and the next story is about a terrifying ventriloquist dummy or a zombie or something. You know what I mean? Like, there are stories that are genuinely scary and then stories that are just kind of trying to be, like, almost pleasantly scary, not too scary for kids, almost like Sales Slumped or something. I don't know. Sometimes they kind of go back and forth like that. This kind of feels on that lower end of the lower middle grade books. But again, with that being said, it's not bad. It's kind of the same kind of concept as Dogman, if you've read that by Dave Pilkey. It's kind of just okay. It's cool. It's fine. Whatever. It's enjoyable. That's really all I cared about. Usually every Goosebumps book has a big twist at the end of it. This one does as well. It's not really that profound or memorable for that matter. In some ways it's kind of dumb with the logic based around it that doesn't make any sense. But the story itself, again, I know I keep dogging on it, but I'm telling you, it's just mostly okay. You might enjoy it, you might not. I don't really know. I don't think most readers are going to love this book. I think it's only been reissued one time, like in the early 2000s when they did the reissues. I think this one was released with like a pink cover or something, and that's it. That's about it. But the book itself doesn't really have a whole lot going on, and I don't have too much to say about the book. It's just fine. You know, you have a lot of irresponsible camp counselors and stuff that are always like on the water watching the kids swim and stuff, even though they have a buddy system too, where the kids are supposed to be teamed up with another kid to make sure neither one of them gets lost and drowned or something. They're supposed to always be on top of each other, taking care of each other and stuff. They still have camp counselors, and those people do the worst job they could possibly do to have so many camp counselors. Not every time somebody gets in a situation where they might disappear out in the water or something, these people just, they don't know. They don't know a thing about it. The kids don't know a thing about it. Doesn't matter. It's so weird, man. But again, it's a kid's story. Why do I care so much about this stuff? But anyway, guys, when it comes to Goosebumps, The Curse of Camp Cold Lake, what did you guys think about this particular book? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What did you think about it, guys? Again, for me, it's just kind of in the middle. It is what it is. If I had to rate The Curse of Camp Cold Lake on a 5-star basis, this might seem a little bit too much of a push for a nostalgic rating for the book, but in my opinion, I think it deserves a 3 out of 5 stars. That's just because of my feelings towards, especially the cover here. The cover is not the story. Honestly, especially how it's like kind of like a zombie-looking thing a little bit. But it's still a decent book. Still fine. I don't regret having it, you know. I've read this, like I said, 3 or 4 times, and I can't remember anything about it half the time once I finish it. Kind of weird. It's kind of oddly forgettable like that, but also decent at the same time. Definitely not one of my favorite Goosebumps book of all time. Definitely my probably favorite cover of all time from Goosebumps, potentially. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Put your thoughts down below. Thank you for watching. I just said that like a sentence ago. May the Lord Jesus Christ bless you guys today, and have fun if you go to camp, if camp is still a thing that kids and people do. Whatever. God bless you, and goodbye.